Good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Barbara, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Sales,
I'm sorry. Susie, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Sales, Parfrey, Noonan, and Moss present.
This proceeding, of course, will be broadcast on Channel 35. Yeah, I do want to say one thing. There's been a lot of talk about JFB employees, but I don't want the city to lose sight of the wonderful work that our employees do. So we really do commend you for what you contribute to the city. We appreciate it. General Manager's report?
Nothing today. Move on to close in.
That's a great report.
Thought you would.
Comments or requests from commissioners? Commissioner Parfrey, I believe that was...
Thank you, President Sales. At our last board meeting, we discussed the Bundle Fit program, and I just want you to know how exciting this program is, and I was very pleased to support it, continue to support it. However, in the amended board resolution, we did leave one area a little unclear, and it's to answer the question, what would the department do in the event that megawatts of in-basin solar is promised but not delivered? And so I'm asking the department to respond to a slight amendment that offers some date certainty related to this, and to get a response from the department to the following statement. And this, in large measure, is the same language with some slight amendments. In the event that the FIT 50 program fails to move forward as planned, the LADWP, after each local solar developer milestone at the end of 2014 and 2015, promptly bring back to the board a plan to revert unfulfilled megawatts of local solar to the same program as used for the original FIT 100 program, or such other plan as the board may approve to achieve a total 150 megawatt feet in PARIF program. I just wanted to get some date certainty, and I would like to submit this for the general manager to bring back to the board as soon as possible.
So we have to agendize the item. So.
Anyway.
Okay.
This will be a subsequent board meeting.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. Subsequent board.
Thank you. Any other requests or comments? Commissioner Moss?
Yes, and looking at the minutes of our January 25th meeting, I noticed there were a number of items that were requested for 6-month reports, so I just wanted to sort of go over those to make sure that the general manager was on top of that. We request a billing accuracy report, a water conservation programs update, and a report on qualified real property and personal property appraisals. And what I would also like, sort of as an adjunct to that, is in noticing the minutes, the commissioner comments weren't quite as detailed as they could possibly be. They were a little sketchy, so it's hard to tell just by looking at the minutes exactly what was prompting these requests for the report. So I would also ask that someone go back to the tape, the videotape, and actually see what Commissioner Sales, Noonan, and myself particularly requested with respect to these reports, so that we get accurate and meaningful reports to us. Because if you just go by the minutes themselves, it's a little unclear as to what we were asking for.
Yes. Commissioner, just so I make sure I know, you want us to go back and get that to provide better contextual background for those items and fill it out in more detail.
Right. So that when you do make those reports, you're responding to what we were asking for.
Sure, we'll do that.
Okay. And then
Let me ask a question about that. So we're talking about the minutes of January 25th, right?
that's correct.
So we probably should defer approving the minutes. You wanted?
No, we're fine with the minutes themselves. That's why I'm bringing it up at this point rather than when we were considering the minutes.
Okay.
But I just wanted to, make it's more of a reminder that we're expecting to receive those reports, and I'll leave it at that. Secondly, I would like an additional report to know whether the department has any off-budget or off-balance sheet funds or reserve accounts that the department is maintaining, and if so, to get a full accounting of those. None have been brought to my attention, or I believe the attention of the board, but I would like to find out if there are any that might be out there that we should be aware of. Other than that, nothing else. Thank you.
Mr. Nichols, you understand the request?
Yes, I do. Thanks.
Okay. Good. Public comment. We have one speaker card.
Tony Wilkinson.
Welcome, Mr. Wilkinson.
Thank you very much, President Sales. I, too, want to chime in with President Sales and say that many of us in the community, large majority of us, think the DWP employees are outstanding employees. It's truly wonderful. The few salaries that have been released actually show that this department's senior managers are woefully underpaid. So I think that really should go.
One group agrees with that.
But I do want to make one comment on today's report about the rejection of the federal suit with regard to Owens Valley. I understand it's a jurisdictional matter, but I was also dismayed by some of the comments about the content. We have a beautiful environmental plan developed with local participation for addressing responsibilities. I'm concerned that in this one area, this is where the environmental law is actually applied strictly, bringing an unreasonable conclusion, and we may end up having to look for some legislative exception. I'm not attacking the law, but I'm saying that the conclusion here is unreasonable. So I hope that we consider to plan for that and not rely on the state suit going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments, Susan?
No, that's all for public comment.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes. With respect to the consent agenda, we're going to move to the discuss agenda item 6 and item 11. Is there a motion to approve the other items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no opposition, that motion passes. The general manager would like to defer item 18. Is there a motion to defer item 18?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no opposition, that motion carries. It's my understanding that we've got several speakers here on item 23, 2 and
Right.
3. So if there's no objection, I'd like to move that item up.
No objection. Great. I'd like to have Mr. Foya.
Get Koya
Come up.
and the team to
This is sub, 23, 2 and 3, not 1.
2 and 3.
Correct.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm up here, Mike Koya, Assistant General Manager of Power System. I work for Aaron Benjamin. And also I have up here is my IBW labor partner on this utility pre-craft training program, Sean McLeod. So what we'd like to do today is give a little bit more detail on our utility pre-craft training program, give you a little bit of a history of since its inception and we launched the program, and how we've expanded it, and we've tied it in with a lot of our energy efficiency goals and solar initiatives to, again, help train this workforce, and then at the end integrate them into DWP with careers with DWP. So I think, as we all know, we have one of our main issues facing DWP is our aging workforce, and we have a lot of people that are queued up and are eligible to retire, and 20% of the workforce will be eligible to retire in the next 5 years, and 40% of the workforce is 50 years plus in age. And the challenge for us, both on the water and power side and support services, is that, and especially on the water and power side, we have formal training programs to train the people that we need to perform the critical work to keep the systems running. But they do have a long lead time on the training programs, some up to 4 years, such as the Steam Plant Assistant Program. And we just initiated a new program that's going to be coming to the board here, I think, in the next board meeting, a new classification called Wind Plant Technician. But in addition to the length of the training programs, one of our other challenges is that some of our programs, because they are very rigorous, they have a pretty high attrition rate, dropout rate. For example, our line worker program, we have only a 50% success rate in our graduating people that enter the program, and then ultimately, at the end of 4 years, become journey level craft people.
Why is that?
Well, one of the things that, and we found, and we made some tweaks, but again, a lot of people, sometimes they see the salaries of the jobs, they looks good, looks kind of exciting and things like that. But then again, when you actually have to go up, a 40 or 50-foot pole, some of them, don't care for the rigor of that, or they're afraid of heights. And then at the second year of the program, when we start working around energized circuits, I mean, it's one thing to think about that, but to know that you're working right next to a line wire, that there's a lot of danger and risk involved.
Is
And
that,
so-
oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, please. Go ahead.
Oh, so, and again, and I'll kind of tie this into our program, because so one of our goals of this program is when we bring people in, we give them a more in-depth exposure to the requirements and the rigors for these jobs. So again, when they select an area to get into and transition into a career, I mean, they've seen a lot of the different options, and, they make a very conscious decision.
Is that 50% number fairly consistent? Is it
It
trending
has
one
been-
way or the other? Or?
But again, I've been involved with some of our joint labor management committees. We've actually made a few tweaks to the bulletins and the recruitment. So again, we expect that to go, probably at least hopefully 70% passing rate here pretty soon. I mean, one of the things that, without getting too much off track, right now we require anybody that comes into that training program to have a pole climbing certificate, which means that they've already had to go out and get a 600-hour pole climbing certificate from either Trade Tech or some of the other, training colleges. And so that demonstrates that they can perform that type of work, and they know that, the dangers about it. So
One of the goals, Commissioners, is exactly the question of matching the skill sets and the job performance before they enter the classrooms, the 3-year apprenticeship program, that once they are in the classrooms, we have to invest, a lot of resources in the training and stuff. And they could drop out, 6 months into the program, a year into the program, they'll drop out. And that whole training effort that we have will be wasted, if they don't graduate. We want to see every student that enters the program graduate, and this kind of allows us to make sure that match the skill sets and the abilities with the job performance, and that hopefully will raise our success rates.
And again, just kind of demonstrating a little bit more detail that we have a lot of real critical classes here that have a lot of eligibility for retirement.
Go back for just a second.
sure.
One category was 50%?
Yes.
That means half our workforce?
We'll have the people in that classification.
classification,
In that
right.
classification are eligible to retire, yeah. Luckily, a lot of them haven't. And again, just a real brief overview of the critical classes on both water and power side, and most of this is a lot of the power ones. But since that time, too, I mean, we're not only addressing these classifications because we see that, throughout the whole department, there are some functions that, well, any function, you need the people to do the work. So, but again, this is our target areas right now. So again, workforce planning, and that's one of the things that we started looking at this with Local 18, and we've been talking about this. We know that we have this big bubble of retirements coming. So it just, was a real unique challenge that we wanted to tackle. And to address the challenge, Local 18 and LADVP, we got together and we collaboratively worked on creating this utility pre-craft trainee classification to address these needs. So it was exempt classification created in 2010. It was a product of our joint labor management collaboration. So in order to become a utility pre-craft trainee, they're dispatched through Local 18, and we used they sign what we call a book, and then when we call, we need 20, 25, 30, they're dispatched in the order they sign the book. First ones on the list that sign first get dispatched first.
If I can comment,
Sure.
sorry to interrupt on this thing. The important point on this thing is the traditional process was for the exams to be given. So if somebody decided to enter into any of these classes, the process was about 2 years, 2.5 years for taking the exam, getting on the list, waiting for the certificate to come in, and then getting into the apprenticeship program. In those 2.5 years, a lot of the potential employees, they can't afford to wait 2 years, 2.5 years for them to get into this process. They either had a parallel path that they were pursuing, or they just by chance, had to wait that long for them to get in. What this does, what Mike is explaining, is that the process that we have right now is because it's a community recruitment efforts. We go into the communities, we recruit through the communities, we get them to sign up the books, and because it's an entry level, we could actually reach into the community and pick up the employees very quickly, much quicker than the existing process that we had in order for them to be civil servant.
I was going to ask a question about that. So with respect to our outreach, how do we go? Do we work through high schools, community colleges, or what's?
And we'll cover a lot of those things. That's part of the.
Someone's smiling now, so I guess.
Yeah, Sean's going to cover that part of
Ready to
that.
answer that question, okay.
But I think it was an important point because that was one of the hurdles that we found, that people that are very interested and capable and we want to recruit them, that time lag that we had initially to get to that class was too long for them to. I've had a lot of high school kids come and say, how can I get in? And then if I told them 2.5 years, they said, well, that's too long. I got to go find another job and maybe I'll come back. But you lose a lot of those potential recruitees, you know.
And so, getting back to signing the book, so it's open to anyone with an LA County, that's a resident of LA County and has a valid California driver's license. And as Aram said, so this big thing here that we're doing, we're preparing the participants for a lot of our feeder classes to our critical classifications, journey level classifications. So the UPCT training curriculum, so we bring them in, and then we do a lot of rigorous training. We start off with, like, you know, a total of 57 training courses that they give over the course of 4 weeks. We partner with LA Trade Tech. We use the WorkSource Center to help do some initial screening and success to complete and enter the program. And then again, we cover a lot of the gamuts for DWP. And I'll get into this a little bit, but I think as we talked about before, the first launch was using them on the grant DOE weatherization program, and that we use that as the opportunity to leverage this program. And since that time, we've expanded it to both water and power, and also support services. But and again, we train them a lot. One day every 2 weeks, we bring them in for training. But then this is in addition to the on-the-job training. I think the other critical element to note that is there's a lot of pressure on the, or let's say pressure, not say pressure, we'll say requirements for the UPCT that we have a series of computer-based training courses that they have to complete on their own time in order to stay active in the program. So we set timelines and what curriculum they have to, you know, matriculate through in order to stay in the program. Another critical element that we do is we put them what we have a Hayden Basic Electricity course. It's chapters 1 through 7, and it goes into both AC and DC theory, and they have to complete that within the first 18 months and be able to pass the final in order to stay in the program. And that requires a lot of home study as well. So.
Certainly glad they don't have that test for commissioners. That would be,
Is the computer-based training something that's created internally, or what?
Yeah, so what we've done in partner with the Joint Training Institute that we have with Local 18, we've actually worked with a company that we basically, they're canned courses, if you will, and we have certain suites like math, reading, and we can customize those suites like modules that we can put people through, and so that's how we set it up. So it's something to the Joint Training Institute that they can get on through the internet, but they have to be registered through us to be able to access it. So again, just a graphical demonstration of, at the bottom we have the utility pre-craft trainee, and these are some of the areas that we've been focusing on in the first parts of the program in order to get them into our formal training programs. And the goal here is to give them the training they need, get them the exposure, and they still have to take a civil service test to become a DWP employee. And so it's getting ready for those tests, and also lets them choose, you know, the areas that they want to focus on. We give them a broad exposure to all the classifications in water and power. So again, you know, even myself coming through the ranks, I came through the power system, and, you know, again, I started off in generation, and it was only like through word of mouth that I found out, you know, what maybe some other parts of the company did, and maybe some of the opportunities. But we try and give them that flavor up front as much as possible. And again, we'll talk more about this, but again, there's been a real good partnership with local coalitions, Lane and Scope, Local 18. We've gone out to neighborhood councils to establish this green jobs pipeline and communicate that to the communities and do our outreach. And the other thing too that's big, as we all know, and it's been approved by your board, the higher budget for energy efficiency, which is again give us opportunities to leverage the program and to go into some of these areas that direct install, that gives them on-the-job training. So we're using that labor and the workers to help us achieve those goals. At the same time, they're getting trained to get permanent jobs at DWP. So just a little bit of historical. So in 2011, we had the first class of 35 UPCTs hired. 2012, the second class. And just recently, about a month ago, we had the third class. So all told, we had about 86 in the program, and we've got about 83 right now. A few have gone on to a few other city departments and gotten jobs. But I know that, again, and a lot of this is just timing of civil service exams and where they are on the list, but I know those two or three will be coming back. And we talked a little bit about the grant program, and having the UPCTs help us on the grant program, we're enable us to achieve all the goals for that program. So again, as I discussed, so now we're starting to leverage the program to support us in other critical department goals. So our energy efficiency direct install programs, so we have the home weatherization, the HYPE program, the small business direct install, the LAUSD program, and then we also have our own local solar installations that we do with force account crews at different municipal facilities, and so that's where we're using them right now, in addition to our own staff. So a little bit about the solar growth. So again, these are some of the local projects on our own facilities that we're putting solar installations on. And the home energy improvement program, that's where, again, it was migrating from the grant program to an internal-based and funded program that we're going out in multifamily units and single-family homes and doing weatherization services as part of the energy efficiency. And again, our primary target there is low-income, lifeline, and Tier 2 residents. And again, we just started this program, the Small Business Direct Install, which the board approved a couple of months ago, and now we're starting to do the assessments and get ready to do the installations. But that's where we'll be using the utility pre-craft trainees in addition to our own crews to go into small businesses and do lighting retrofits, water conservation measures, and now we're also doing some gas measures too. And again, the LAUSD is one that's ramping up. We started that earlier this year. We've done about 4 schools. And again, we just started with this class 2. We had 5 utility pre-craft trainees help out with the crews, and now we're expanding that come Monday to another 5. So we'll have a total of 10 of the utility pre-craft trainees in that program helping and working with not only our people, but LAUSD people as well. So. And just in general, so again, for us, success, what does it look like? It's a triple win. So we're able to meet our goals: energy efficiency, water conservation. At the same time, we're leveraging the program, flexing it to feed our critical classifications. And then again, we're also reducing our customers' utility bills. And just to state, though, again, we've got a lot of people in the queue, and Sean and I have been working with our HR department and personnel, because the key is to get on a civil service exam. We've been working with personnel to look at the bulletins, and they've been very cooperative where it's applicable. Just the fact that, by the virtue of their training and their incumbency in the class, they're able to qualify for DWP exams. And so, and again, a lot of them are on lists now, and we're just at the cusp now where we're going to be, getting to the area where we can get to them to pick them up and get them in our training programs.
So timing-wise, as the UPCTs are working, in the field, they're doing solar installation, direct installs, and everything. The training is paralleling them actually doing the work. So they're getting on-the-job training, they're getting the computer-based training, they're getting the classroom trainings, and it's all incorporated into their work schedules.
And with that, if there's any questions, I'd like to turn it over to Sean, and she's going to talk a little bit about outreach.
I am Shawn McLeod, Assistant Business Manager for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and we're the partners of this program. One of the things when we first started off, we worked with the Mayor's Office and City Council in this program when we were about to launched the program. So we're keeping them involved in the program. We also have our outreach with our community partners. We have Lane, we have Scope, and a lot of community neighborhood council members, and we have a lot of them here that you will see before we come. But I think one of the key things that happens with this program is the collaboration portion of it. It's not just a DWP program, it's just not the City of Los Angeles, but getting out to the community to talk about it. And so one of the things that we do, we go to community meetings about it, but one of the things here is that top management goes out with us when we're talking about it. So if I'm out there, Ron has been out there, Aram has been out there with us, and Mike has been out there, along with our community partners. And also one of the things is giving back of the program of being a UPCT, and they know that they're out there with us when we're there. So they're hearing it real from the community workers and actually workers of how it has changed their life. So that's how we're doing the outreach. We have gone to all the city council districts to talk to them when they have opportunities in their districts and talk about this program. And that's part of our outreach with our community partners and what they're doing. Training program, we want to make sure, as Mike has said, it is LA City, DWP residents, and we have expanded out to LA County, using the resources like Los Angeles Trade Tech College, using the resources of UCLA. They come and help with the tutoring portion of it, with the math and the reading comprehension. So we're using our own resources that we have within the City of Los Angeles, along with our work source centers that we have, to do a screening program. So when they first start, after they sign the books, we dispatch them. They have to go to the work source center for 3 days to get a work readiness certificate. They're looking for soft skills, reporting their work, listening, paying attention. And once they have that certificate, then they will bring it back to the union hall, and when we're ready to dispatch, we'll be able to have a portion. So they have to give a portion of their sales to see that they really want this job. The whole thing is to give them exposure, as Mike has talked about, and the exposure is seeing what all the jobs are about at Water and Power so you can make an informed decision. It's not to replace a full-time employee. Is to get exposure. And so we have buy-in from both sides. We have buy-in from our workers that are there, because this is something new that they're doing at the Department of Water and Power, and we have buy-in from the actual UPCTs, and they can tell you, we have 2 here that's going to speak, and the whole thing is that if they have a heart and wanting to do it, we can teach. One of the critical things about the program that we came in when we have apprenticeship programs, and you asked about people dropping out, one was the knowledge of not knowing what the job was all about. The second thing was, a lot of times, because of the LA Unified School Districts and a lot of our school districts, because of the budget cuts, they don't have the wood shop classes, they don't have other classes that are going on. And then another thing that occurred is that our journey level, a lot of the kids are not following in their parents' footsteps. They're either going to college or they're doing stuff electronically, so then we don't have anybody from the journey trade. And so when we talk to some of the journey personnel that was out there, we're like, okay, why are they getting 1s and 2s on their report? And they said because they didn't have the mechanical aptitude or the reading or the math portion of it. Well, all of that is teachable. We can teach that if you have a willing to learn it, and that's what the program is about. They're learning as they're working and getting paid. They're learning, and they have to do the homework to get on board in order to make sure that they are able to compete and qualify for civil service exams. So they told me I had 2 minutes, so I think I'm at 2 minutes.
Questions for either Mike or Shauna?
A question? Okay.
Mr. Moss?
Questions? Yeah. Do the UPCTs get paid while they're in the program?
When they get paid $16 an hour, and the $16 is set. It will not go up and down, and plus they get health and dental benefits.
And at what point does the salary or wages kick in the program?
From day one, when
From
they
day
first
one?
start.
Okay.
Yeah, once they're
And in the 2011 class, you say that 35 have been hired as full-time DWP employees?
Well, no, they were hired as UPCTs.
Oh,
and they're
okay.
exempt.
How many of those have been hired in DWP so far?
Well, to point, none yet, but we had 3 of them go to other city departments, Public Works, airports, and then one to traffic. So.
Okay, so has the UPCT program at this point translated into anyone being hired full-time by DWP?
Not at this point, but as I said, when we started the program, we did a lot of work. We had to do a lot of work with civil service to get the UPCT experience as a qualifier in the exams. And we just had about a slate of 5 or 6 exams in the last 6 months that were administered. with that qualifying experience, and so many of them are on that list now, and we're going through the process where we're
When would you expect that we would get our first hires out of this program?
Oh, I'm thinking that this summer we should hit that mark, either in our steam plant assistant program, and we have our electric station operator program. There's quite a few that scored very well.
The fruits of the program is it's going to take time for them. That 2.5 years I talked about, if you weren't in this program, so those exams have been given, and a lot of them, we're very proud to see them as number 1, 2, 3 on the list. They've scored so high on it. And that process of hiring the civil service part is going on while they're working as a UPCT and earning a paycheck and getting trained. So like one class, I think we have the operator class. The exam has been given. They are on that list. By the time we hire the next class of operators, they will be included in that. So we'll see the pipeline kind of moving on as we get these classes in.
Okay. So far in the 3 classes, you have about 86 people have been part of the program?
Yes.
According to the figure?
Yeah.
Is there any intention or desire to scale this up and make larger classes?
Well, right now, so what we're looking at is we've allocated about 100 positions. That was our target. So we'll be hiring another class here fairly soon. But again, one of the things that we have to manage is the training part and the component. And again, at some point, we can only be so big. And that's what we're looking forward to, this next series of the list that we're going to certify. We'll make some more vacancies, and then we can have some more slots.
The limiting part, Commissioner, is the current structure that we have, because we have to do this safely because they're in energized stations. So the ratio of journey and the trainees have to be balanced, and that was the limiting factor on the numbers. Because if we do large solar, for example, we're going to mobilize with almost 300-400 workers, and we have a better control of the crews and stuff, then we can increase those numbers safely. But the way we were testing it, first of all, we were testing our capabilities of training and absorbing, and those were the first 2 classes. We're getting much more comfortable doing it, and that's where you're going to see some of this deployed a little bit more faster.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, with Class 2, we did one of our first rotations after the weatherization, and now water system has started to participate. And initially, they took 10, and they want to expand the next round to 20. So again, we'll be hiring more for that area too.
Great. Thanks.
Other questions from commissioners? It wasn't clear to me. I know you have to have a driver's license and live in the county. Do you have to have a high school diploma?
No, not at this point. No.
Good.
That's why one of the things we try and do, we do that assessment as part of the Workforce Center to see, again, what level people are at, and then depending where they are, we try and get them up to the level we want them.
So I'm not exactly, now the 2.5 years, that's the full training period?
The UPCTs?
No, the training is ongoing all the time. So right now, since the first class has been hired, it's been about 2 years, but, we had to do heavy weatherization training in order to do that work, but now again, one day every 2 weeks, we bring them in for some other training. So it might be electrical, it might be mechanical, different topics. And again, we continually progress them like through that Hayden course, which again is throughout that duration. So
what is the 2.5 years? What takes 2.5 years?
The civil service process that I described was, if you walk in today and say, I want to be a lineman, minimum 2.5 years is the timeline you're looking at. By the time the bulletins at the city, as they go like every 6 months or whatever they offer them, so you have to be in the cycle of taking the exam. So you get ready to take the exam, you take the exam, you get your name on the list of the civil service potential offers that you will get based on your ranking. Wait for the departments to call you in. By the time you get called in and by the time the civil service process takes effect, that's about 2.5 years of timeline that you have to wait from the time you say, I want to take an exam and get into the city, to the time you might get an offer from the city if you're high on the list.
Is there a way to expedite that process with respect to some of these key categories, like the mechanical supervisor?
And that's what Mike touched on it, is we're trying to line up these exams in a way that as the UPCTs are going through the training, the 18 months or 2 years, by the time they get trained on the basic electricity, safety, and all those things. They're earning a paycheck, they're getting trained, they're getting supported, tutored, they're getting prepared to take the exams, and we prepare them to take those exams, and based on their aptitude, they'll pick an instrument tech bulletin comes out that they go take that exam. Some of the UPCTs have taken multiple exams. They've taken the operator exam, the mechanic exam, the civil service exams. And as they're doing those exams and waiting for that to open up, they're already working with us and they're getting trained in the basic elements of utility.
But to your point, Commissioner, there's some exams, and we've since done that with the line worker program. We were able to petition Personnel Department to give that on a continuous basis. So they're giving that exam every quarter. And then again, people, depending where you score, you just get merged on the list. So that's more of a type of a rolling type system. So.
But part of the mentoring program, mentoring is happening as they're getting trained. Is if they have aptitude for electronic, maintaining electronic equipment, and they're very good in those, is kind of guide them through the coursework and stuff, and make sure they match their strength with the exams and stuff that they're going to take, to make sure they're successful, to make sure they have a chance to get into the civil service list and get hired as a permanent employee, because this is a temporary class. It's an exempt class.
I have one question. The presentation states that this program has received $8.5 million from a federal grant. What contribution is the department making aside from this grant monies? How much does this program cost, and how much are we, as a department, funding it?
Well, I mean, that's how we started the program. So again, that was just part of the grant process. But now we have a training budget for that. But again, right now what we're doing is that the jobs they're performing are jobs that we would be doing anyway. So again, we're using the budgets, the embedded budgets we have, like for energy efficiency or for water system work, to go ahead, and we have that money budgeted, and they're just charging to those jobs.
I'm just asking what that dollar is. What is the budget?
Well, and just off the top of my head, I don't have that training budget component right off the top of my head, but
Maybe you can get the number.
yeah, I can get that back to you.
How much, when you break it down for the 80 or so people who've been through the program, how much is it for each person?
That's, again, I'd have to get back
You
to
don't know
that
the total
detail.
number, so you're not going to know.
Yeah.
He's trying to get it from a different angle.
Yeah.
Lawyers.
President, so this is a clarifying point to Commissioner Noonan's request for information. The $8.5 million was the ARRA monies, and those monies have all been spent.
One time.
Well, that's a one-time expenditure, so that was basically the seed for the program, and through that we did a lot of effort to develop the program, structure some of the training work that we've done associated with that, kind of got used to how we do the outreach, did some of our efforts on kind of training our trainers with respect to that, so that now as we go forward, we built off of that base, moving forward in doing this. But we'll get you the more detailed information on that cost going forward. But it's important when we do that we also get to, getting to Mike's point, the training that we're doing, this is training that we would be doing at some level for new employees in any event. And you go back to some of the issues that Mike pointed out in his presentation. We're getting in some of these a 50% fallout rate. So we're paying for training and only getting something like 50 cents on the dollar. Before this program, our hopes are that we get people trained better to be able to do tasks for jobs that we didn't have before. We didn't have home energy improvement jobs before. So it's a whole new program that we've got budgeted out there. It's at a different hourly rate than a full, say, a journey person would be. And we get through that effort, get them to be more likely to, when they then do get positioned to take these exams, that we have a better exam result, and we get a lesser fallout failure rate. But we'll try to. I'm only saying this from perspective. We'll try to give you some context to that with the numbers when we pull those numbers together.
I understand all of the wonderful, valid points for doing this program, but I do think that the financial equation is a major part of just understanding the program, and so for it to be omitted, I think it's just kind of curious. And when you look at 85 students currently in the program, and us having the $8.5 million of seed money go by very quickly, I personally, as commissioner, would like to know how much we're investing for each of these students. And the fact that 3 or 4 have decided not to join the department and do something else, I think it's wonderful for them to have that education that we helped subsidize. But I do think it's important to understand the investment that we're putting in and what we can expect out of the program.
And you'll get that information. Right?
Yes. And one of the things I want to qualify real quick, and again, some of that's just the timing, because the people that went to the other city departments, that they're on the same classifications, like electrical craft helper or mechanical helper classification. And it was just the fact that they certified that list before us. And one of the things that, if you're coming up to the city and you want to get on a promotional list, when you have the opportunity, you need to get on a list, because then you're able to get on a promotional list for future exams, or you're able to transfer to another department rather than hoping to wait till they get to you on another list.
Mike, what you've been focusing in on the future benefits from the UPCT trainees, but they're out in the field already.
Right.
And they're already performing services on behalf of the department. So this isn't sort of like sitting in a classroom waiting for one day entering the workforce. They're in the workforce.
Right.
And they're already daily providing benefit and providing services for the department. So perhaps you could elaborate on that a little bit, talk about what some of their daily tasks are.
Yeah, and so as I mentioned, and probably a good example, in the work that we're doing with direct install would be normally what we do with our other exempt workers, either electrical mechanics or electrical craft helpers, and I'd say more the helper, the equation is more accurate. But again, these are much higher paid classifications that we would use, and I think as Ron had mentioned too, that, again, at $16 an hour,
So we're saving money.
Lower. We're saving money to get the same.
I just want that concept to get out there.
Yeah.
I see the analogy of kind of it being a paid internship, and I think internships are great for the employer as well as the person who's interning, but I do think it's important for us to have an understanding of the overall budget that we've placed on this program.
We will do a comprehensive, because the training percentage, it cost us close to $150,000, $200,000 to train in the apprenticeship programs, and that 50%, if it goes to 75%, 80%, that's a big benefit. So I think we need to give you all the moving parts together, so we'll get that.
Okay, and I want to cover a couple of things. Number one, this is not cheap labor that's out there, so let me be clear from the IBEW Local 18 aspect of it with the management team. This is to get the community aware of job opportunities in the department and train them while they're on the job. It's not to replace a full-time employment. So they can get you the budget, and yes, $16 an hour, but that's in addition to, so all the crews now have an additional person on their crew teaching them about the jobs at Water and Power. So I want to make sure that that is crystal clear with everybody. And also the 3 that are gone, all 3 of them said as soon as they can get on the list to get over here, this is their home and this is where they want to come back. But when you're trying to feed a family and you're trying to make it and being able to get on a civil service list, they made a choice that it came up, and they will have the opportunity to come back at Water and Power. And so with that, I would, it's my pleasure to introduce on the slideshow, the PowerPoint, all of those pictures are actual workers at Water and Power. They're actual UPCT workers. And we have 2 that are here. That's going to come up. Their names are LaWanda Davis and Carlos Ginyard, and they can tell you a little about their experience that they have as current UPCT workers.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I would like to first say that I'd like to thank you for letting us have the opportunity to speak to you today. I would really like to let you know that before I came to the Utility Pre-Craft Training Program, I was unemployed, and the prior jobs that I had before my unemployment never came close to the training that I received here at the department. As a utility pre-craft trainee, we've had extensive outside training such as trade tech. We've had in-house training, and I've never seen anything like it. Also, I am the first woman that was in Class 1, and very proud of it, especially for my age, and never thought that I'd be able to do the things that I was trained to do. And I can guarantee you, this is my home, and I'm going to make sure that I do pass one of these tests and become a permanent civil service employee. The other thing I want to elaborate on that has been so different to me is to see a company this large and IBEW Local 18 come together with their collaboration to have this type of training program. I've never heard of anything on this level, and I think the investments that have been made in us as UPCTs, you will see in the future that it will not be of loss.
Sir?
Excuse me, I'm a little nervous just talking in front of people. I want to thank IBEW Local 18 and the department, and my part is to talk about the weatherization, to be able to help and get back to the community and be more productive. And I know the customers appreciate it, and all of us appreciate it. Again, like I said, we're more productive, and I feel everybody benefits from it. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so now we'll talk a little bit about the outreach part of it, and the partnership is Jessica Goodhart from Lane,
Yes.
and Elsa Barbosa from Scope.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. You've seen me before, and you'll see me again. My name is Jessica Goodhart, and I'm with the Los Angeles Alliance for New Economy. Lane and Scope and IBEW Local 18 are anchor organizations for the Repower LA Coalition. It's a very incredibly diverse, you've got the list, I hope, of organizations that came together a couple of years ago to support the development of this program as a pipeline to jobs in our communities, to the department, and to advocate for increased investment in energy efficiency programs that help all customers, including many of customers who are struggling right now. And I want to really thank the board, thank Ron Nichols, thank Aram and his team, and our partner IBEW Local 18 for really stepping up on both counts, not only doing energy efficiency, but doing it in a way that really has broad benefits in terms of the services, in terms of the thousands of customers that are being reached, and in terms of kind of this really making this pipeline, which is really, I think, another benefit really clear. It hasn't been clear to communities across the city how to get into jobs at DWP, into their public utility. This program makes it clear, and this is a really important point, I think. It's a clear pipeline and pathway that's going to help lift up communities around the city. I would just like to acknowledge coalition members. Can Repower LA coalition members please stand up? Thank you. We've got folks here from Scope, from NRDC, from United Neighbors Neighborhood Council, from, I'm sure I'm missing, Sierra Club. Sorry. It says it right here too. So anyway, and we all really want to thank you and just be in strong support of this program, this amazing program. And we are continuing to do work. We're in the communities. We're visiting community meetings every week, talking about the great services, the job programs, and also training others to be spokespersons for Repower LA and for the amazing work and collaboration we've done together. So with that, I'll turn it over to Elsa.
Good afternoon. My name is Elsa Barbosa, and I'm the campaign director for Scope. And we're a community organization that's centered in South Los Angeles, and really over the last 20 years have been doing a lot of policy, job creation, and workforce development. So we've been doing this work for many years. And I'm here to tell you that this is a tremendous partnership, and this is a tremendous program. We just returned, my colleagues and I just returned from DC. We were a featured panel at the Good Jobs, Green Jobs Conference, talking about this program and this work, and all of the folks who are here in this room. We are going to be at a California Workforce Development Conference in San Jose in May, and in June we're going to be in San Diego at the National Utility and Energy Conference. So we are taking this out on the road and letting folks know around the country what leadership we all are taking together around the UPCT program. So we just wanted to say, last Friday I had the chance to attend one of the orientations for the latest training group. And I've been doing this work for many years, and I was very, very inspired, and it reminded me of why I do the work that I do, because we really are changing lives. We really are putting together a Class A training program, really a model that the rest of the country could model. So, we've seen many men and women, including some of the members from South Los Angeles, be part of this program and really have a new hope. And that's really, I hope that you get to meet many of the rest of the trainees, because the stories are touching. They're folks who are part of our families, part of our communities, our cousins, our aunts, our uncles. And so it's very real. And it very much touches communities and families in South Los Angeles and around the city. I want to also just thank IBW Local 18 for your tremendous, I'm very proud to be working with you and proud of the work and the commitment that you've made, as well as the Department of Water and Power leadership. Again, this is Class A work. This is a national model type of thing, and so the work that you all have and commitment that you've shown to the community is amazing. And that's the story that needs to be out in the newspaper and on the news. So we just wanted to take a moment and share. I wanted to introduce a video that highlights some of the utility pre-cap trainees and the home energy improvement program, and some of the customers who also are in South Los Angeles and all over the city who have benefited from this program. So just a couple minutes.
In the summertime, it's really hot, and in the wintertime, it's really cold. With the weatherization that they did, it's brought down the bill considerable. I think it's a very beneficial program, especially if you have limited money and living on a fixed income.
Repower LA is a coalition of environmental groups, community groups, small businesses, and IBW Local 18. Thanks in part to our advocacy, DWP has doubled the amount of money that they're putting into energy efficiency programs, including the Home Energy Improvement Program.
When they came out and they went through my home, they spent about 2 hours all up in the roof, under the house, outside. It was just wonderful because it saves. It saves on our electricity, our gas bill, and it gives us a sense of security, that our homes now are like everybody else's homes.
DWP has been in the process of insulating the attic, weatherizing all the doors. I'm totally grateful for the program. I'm totally grateful for the Department of Water and Power being involved, because the professionalism is awesome.
Everybody wants to do something for somebody, the majority of people, and I love it because a lot of people come and they thank us, and they just want to give us water, and they can't thank us enough, and they write emails, and it really does. You always want to do something in life to help other people, and this in all honesty, is helping them save money to live. They can live more comfortably, you know what I mean, and it does make me feel good.
It's very important for me. First of all, I get a steady income, which is important for anybody in a job, but as far as that, I mean, you hear everything in the news about global warming and how we need to be more energy efficient. We're so reliant on other, bad energy. And in the long run, for me, it's just I'm helping out not only the customer and everything else, but I'm also helping out the community in the long run.
So being a small business owner, as you can see in this area, is very difficult. With the heat, energy efficiency is a big thing for us. And our customers do notice when we try to be more efficient, especially with the energy, because it helps the community. They do take notice if you're trying to make a difference in their own community, and they appreciate it.
The savings, if I can reinvest in the business and keep it growing and being sort of a help to the community, I think it would just be a win-win.
And that included item 22, and 23 is I just want to bring Carol Sabin up from UC Berkeley, and she was the author of the report that's before you, and I'll let Carol speak about that. So.
Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, President Sales, General Manager Nichols, and other staff. It's a pleasure to be here. My name's Carol Zabin, and I am Governor Brown's appointee to chair the State Green Colored Jobs Council, which is part of the State Workforce Board. And the purpose of it really is to give advice to policymakers on connecting green economic development and our transition to clean energy with good workforce training. I'm also the author of the CPUC report that's supposed to map out workforce training needs and was actually mandated in the California Long-Term Energy Efficiency Strategic Plan. So I've been working in this area for a while, and I was invited here because Hewlett Foundation actually asked us to write a report on this particular program after doing the needs assessment for the whole state, which looked comprehensively at all the training infrastructure we have, as well as the labor demand in energy efficiency and all the demand side response activities. We were supposed to find good practices, best practices, promising practices, and give some guidelines to the state, the investor-owned utilities, the CPUC, et cetera. And so it was really a pleasure to come across this program because it solves some of the problems that we've seen really endemic in the state, both on the training side and the outcomes for workers, and on the energy efficiency side, where when we did our study, we really found some endemic skill gaps and quality problems that are in fact undermining our ability to achieve our energy efficiency goals. The classic case is the HVAC industry, where we as a state have invested literally millions of ratepayer dollars in energy efficient HVAC equipment, air conditioners, et cetera, and have had tremendous problems in terms of getting the installations done correctly. And the CEC has documented this, where 50 to 80% of the HVAC changeouts in residential and small commercial are simply done wrong, losing the energy savings potential. So from the utility and the state point of view, having skilled, qualified, engaged, professional labor, and I don't mean professional in terms of being a lawyer or a doctor, but rather taking your work very seriously in terms of your investment and commitment in doing good work. So from the utility perspective, that is a critical issue. And then from the worker outcome, we have huge unemployment, and even more importantly, we have a huge problem of a lot of very low-wage jobs and incredible wage inequality. The UPCT solves this problem by starting people at a decent wage with benefits and giving them a career track job. And just to contrast this with what else has happened, in general, the weatherization programs that both the feds have sponsored, which in fact was the seed of this program, in general provide, and the ESAP program that the IOUs do, which is the low-income program, they're in general providing, I would say, almost poverty-level jobs, usually no benefits, and certainly no pipeline or track into a better job. And so this program, because it starts with a decent floor and has a pipeline, it really is a model program. Just to give you a statistic, we just looked at the state data on the $25 million clean energy training program that the Energy Commission sponsored with a Recovery Act funds, and they had a 23% placement rate from their training investments for that $25 million. That is excruciatingly bad. And but where were the good 23%? Well, they were in programs that have the same characteristics of the UPCT. In other words, they're connected with apprenticeship, so they're pipelines into apprenticeship. They're connected with employers, and there are labor management partnerships. So on all three grounds, this really is a program to be proud of. We do, I second your suggestion that the cost analysis be done so that it's transparent and we can really look at it. But in terms of the best practice features that our state is looking for and should look for, I think it really is a commendable program and can help both the utility and the community.
Thank you. Anything else, questions or comments? I just want to say that this is a wonderful program. One of the things I've been asked to do is, I'm on a commission called LA 2020. We're trying to figure out the future of the city of Los Angeles. And the thing that's abundantly clear today is that we've lost too many skilled jobs here in the city of Los Angeles. Just to give you an example, over the last 20 years, payroll employment in the city of Los Angeles has gone down by 2%. In the rest of California, it's gone up by, if you take out LA, 29%. And nationwide, it's gone up 27%. So we have a real gap in job creation, and programs like this will help us close that gap. So I commend you on your efforts.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Let's go to item 6.
President Sales, we do have a speaker card for...
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wilkinson. Excuse me. Tony, are you... Sorry, Tony.
Tony Wilkinson.
Please.
Well, coming, of course, from Panorama City, which is a low-income, diverse, and much-needed jobs area of the city, I've got to say how wonderful the pre-craft training program is. And I also want to tie it into my earlier comments about the employees. One of the key things is that these folks working see that people, A, there's a high standard you have to meet, and it's not easy, and 2, they see the Journey Craft people showing them how to stay safe. And it's a welcoming process that I think makes a good employee long term. But as Commissioner Noonan has pointed out, of course, the cost of these employees is significantly more than the cost per hour that the employees are getting, including benefits. And as we increase the energy efficiency programs on both sides, I'm hoping that we look at this craft program as serving the department's needs to keep our craft positions filled and keep our mind open about using outside contractors for parts of the energy efficiency program like the Business Direct Install, where that makes sense and can get more efficiency for the dollar. I'm pro craft, but let's keep it for our purposes.
Thank you.
That's all. That's all the speaker cards.
Item 6. Commissioner Noonan, I think, had a question or a comment. Or?
Yeah, I've got Joe Castrita and John Leon. Or maybe just John Leon.
Do you want a presentation or you?
I just have a
question.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. Jonathan Leon, Water Distribution Division. Was there a particular question, or do you want me to give you a briefing?
A couple.
Okay.
So, given that we had 2 non-responsive bidders, we're stuck with the 3rd lowest bidder. And I know that, I sound like a broken record about the whole proposal process, but I'm wondering, why are we, time and again, having to pay more dollars to work with certain contractors because certain bids aren't being completed fully? And is it a matter of communication? What's interesting, and I did think that the documentation you provided was very thorough, so I appreciated that. But what I found interesting is that the lowest bidder had actually done work with us in the past. So why they failed to submit certain forms and not be able to be selected again, I just thought it was curious.
Well, we usually don't have the Buy America requirement here at DWP.
Okay.
I think that's the most significant element in terms of why they were non-responsive. That's usually only a part of federally funded programs, but because we're buying this equipment from Metro, we have to comply with the same rules that they do. So so two of them, probably aren't used to having to conform to the Buy America requirements, which means all of the parts have to be made here in the United States significantly, and they can't.
But that was highlighted in the proposal process.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
I think another thing that's happened here is this is the first time we've had a formal contract for the steel pipe. Previously, it's been an informal spot purchase, case by case, project by project. When we do have a formal contract, we have also the requirements for doing the good faith outreach efforts, and that so when we put out this advertisement, that had that, and maybe they weren't that
used to doing it,
or used to doing it. So, unfortunately, it was some portions of the bid they chose not to submit.
Okay. I just posed the question because it's such a reoccurring thing that we're seeing time and again. So, and the other question, I don't know if I should direct it to Mr. McDaniel. I just want to confirm that we did evaluate potentially using alternative piping like HDPE or PVC. That's less expensive, easier to install, and that steel is the right way to go with this assignment.
Yeah, exactly. And as we noted in the board letter, much of this pipe is to be used in areas that are subject to landslides and the higher pressure. But I think you also know that we actually are doing PVC for the first time in certain areas, depending on when it's the right application. So yeah, this is just for steel pipe where we need it.
Thank you.
Questions? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item passes. Item 11. I think Commissioner Moss has a couple of questions.
Yeah, I have two questions. First one is, why haven't we gotten out the replacement specification? What's the delay on that?
Michael D'Andrea, Human Resources. Commissioner, we started this process in November of last year and working with Supply Chain Services. We fully acknowledge that was a little bit late. And we did enter all the relevant data into ERSP in February. However, we realized we were probably not going to make it by May, the contract expiration. So we're requesting the extension. We are working with Supply Chain Services staff diligently on the RFP. That will go out in July, and we do fully expect to have a tentative contract for board approval in December. We probably won't need the full 9 months.
Well, why is it taking so long? I mean, wait a minute, I didn't quite understand. You said the electronic stuff was done in February?
Correct.
So why hasn't the spec been let and every RFP gone out already? Well, I mean, what's the delay now?
I'm not exactly sure what has to take place, but I understand that it will go out in July.
Okay. I guess my issue is, why are we kicking it for 9 months? Maybe we could kick the contract for 4 months or 6 months until we get a replacement in here.
Well, if the RFP goes out in July, we expect that it will take probably about 7 months.
That's not his question. His question is, why is it taking 5 months to get the RFP out?
Let me just ask a quick question, see if I can shed a little bit of light on this. I believe these contracts are monthly and they're terminable, are they not? Is this contract a terminable contract with notice?
No, that's not the case.
Or not?
I don't believe so, sir.
No?
The contract is to expire in May, and we're simply asking for a 9-month extension.
I mean, kind of, with all due respect, it sounds like you got started late in November, you didn't quite get it done, and at a certain point you said, well, let's just go to the board and we'll kick it out for the full 9 months and we'll start from scratch. And there's no urgency here.
Sir, I believe there is urgency. I don't think we're starting from scratch. It just doesn't seem that we can, in working with supply chain services, it does not appear that it's going to go out before July.
Ms. Williams, can you help on this?
Gwen Williams, Director of Supply Chain Services. I'm not familiar, I'm sorry, with the particular details regarding this solicitation. Admittedly, we've been having a lot of difficulty with the time that it takes from the time our customers, internal customers, make a request until we get a solicitation out in the street. The Supply Chain Services Group just developed a new RFP template. We finished training all of the contract administrators who signed up just yesterday. Our target with the new template, which we think makes life simpler for all of our customers, is once they make a request to us, if they do everything that they're supposed to do, that we'll have the RFP on the street within 45 days. Unfortunately, this process started prior to us having a simplified, streamlined methodology for getting the RFP on the street. I'm not quite sure what's going on.
I have a different question then. Thank you for that, but I have a different question. Why are we giving the doctor a raise during the 9-month extension?
My name is Helen Wong. I'm the medical director for Department of Water and Power. We are not giving the doctor a raise. He is remaining at the same rate that he is getting currently.
Well, the authorization is for 9 months, $137,000. That comes out to $15,222 per month. And if you look at the contract that we're extending, I think that was 31 months, approximately. I rounded up. For the full amount is $14,516 a month.
When the initial agreement was put in place, there was built in an increase that was negotiable, and that has been granted 2 times since the inception of the agreement. So he will not have an increase from his current rate during the amendment.
Okay, but you will agree with me that if you amortize the initial contract over the full term, and then you amortize the extension over the 9 months, it's $1,000 more per month.
If you go back to the original price.
Yeah, but I guess the price has changed during the contract. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. That's correct.
So
It has changed.
All right, so there is no increase in compensation during this 9-month period?
No, there is not.
The compensation, the services
All right,
provided
I'll accept
all
that.
remain the same.
So I think it's important that Ms. Williams, you keep us up to date on your expedited process.
Hopefully you'll see demonstration of it, yes.
Okay, good. Ms. Noonan, another question? Barbara?
No.
Is there a motion to approve 11?
There is.
Second?
Begrudgingly, yes.
It's been moved and begrudgingly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes.
Mr. President, if I could just mention a quick point on this issue, not of this contract specifically, but we've had issues on multiple contracts, and I know you're as familiar as I am with it, about the issue where we have contracts for services that we go out for typically a 3-year duration, sometimes longer. And we find that we haven't gone out quickly enough in advance to get it done before, and then we end up having to do extensions for some partial period of time. And I know it's frustrating to you. It's frustrating to me as well. But as Ms. Williams indicated, one of the things that we're trying to do here is address a process, standardizing RFP processes, trying to get them simpler, more consistent, so that they actually don't require as much time for our people to actually prepare an RFP, and have the confidence that in so doing they've actually even have a better document out there to get things going. That process is just now in the process of being implemented. I tell you this only from the perspective, I fully anticipate probably for the next few meetings, you're going to find a couple of these types of contracts. We're working our way through it to get better at it. It shouldn't seem like it would take, if we start on something in November, one would not think that it should take until July or later to be able to work it through. There's also is a significant backlog. We are doing more procurement on projects and things than we have done in quite some time. And it's kind of a goat and the python situation where we got a big bump right now in some of the things that we're dealing with and processes that haven't been quite there. I'm hopeful that we're going to work our way through it with some of the improvements that Ms. Williams has brought forward on this, but I'm not going to sit here and promise you that at the next couple of meetings you won't still find a couple more of these things coming through. But be aware that we are really have our eye on the issue and are really trying to push through and avoid this sort of problem in the future.
Thank you. Item 14.
Item 14 is for financial planning software for the financial planning function. I'm going to let Mr. Peltola provide the detailed presentation, but I'll just give a very brief overview.
We've got a fairly lengthy closed session agenda. I just want to make sure that...
I don't have any questions related to this item. I would like to, and are there any public
I just
speakers?
have a very simple question.
Yeah, so the question,
why is this so much?
Jeff Peltola again, Director of Rates and Financial Planning. It is the final implementation of our financial planning system, and it is for 5 years. We are going to be going to City Council for 5 years. So it's the initial implementation, which we're almost complete with, and then it's the ongoing for the next 5 years.
No, I appreciate that. It's just that if I've understood this correctly, when we first started, and I totally understand from the board letter why it got stopped and it's been sort of picked up again, and it makes sense to me to go back to the same well to continue to recoup, to protect our investment that we've already made. But the original agreement, if I understand, was $1.9 million, right?
The original agreement was $1.9 million, of which about $500,000 we did not spend.
Right. But there was a significant amount of money invested in this program.
Sure.
Why is this 5-year program $2.5 million? I mean, it's considerably more than the first thing. So that's why I'm a little confused.
Right. And again, what we're looking for is to ensure that we complete.
Well, I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you. Let's look at it a different way.
Okay.
What portion of this $2.5 million is necessary to finish the original $1.9 million contract?
The original, I would say, to be safe, given contingencies, roughly $750 is going to be consulting fees that will complete the contract, and then we're going to have ongoing maintenance and license fees that we laid out in the board letter. And then going forward, we're also looking at different parts of not to get into the technical part of it, but different things like we use a statistical system to look at what the rate impacts are when we're trying to figure out what those are. They now have a product that can do that. We're going to look and see. That will be part of the analysis, which this will cover the funding for that.
For the purchase of it, or just examining it?
To examine it, and we may be able to get it actually at a relatively low cost. We're trying to ensure we have enough because we have to go all the way through City Council. We do not have to come back for an amendment.
Okay. I guess my only concern here is that I see the reason to finalize the original program and get the program here, but I'm a little concerned that we're having some mission creep and that perhaps there's more being thrown into the pile than we originally didn't, approve way back in, when I say we, I mean the board in 2009. Now, if there are things that have changed and we want to add on, then that's okay too, but we should be able to differentiate that and be able to consider the propriety of that.
And again, it will get down to what the rate structure, as you mentioned in the board letter we lay out. We can't do the full implementation until we know the exact rate structure. That could change quite a bit given whatever the new rate action will be that will be implemented in fiscal year 14-15. So we have to have some contingency for that as well.
Mr. Commissioner, if I could interject and make sure a little bit of point of clarity on this, Jeff.
Sure.
Point of fact, from the time that we stopped work on this, we went through a pretty significant change to our rate structure from what it was that we didn't contemplate already.
Right.
So one of the reasons it was stopped is things were changing and we didn't know what it was going to be. and part of this gets into a number of legal issues that I don't think we need to get into right now, but it's already changed such that it was more complex than what was contemplated when it was 1.9 million. And we're going to be looking at the prospect of it changing yet again on this. So there's what Jeff's trying to put in here is enough to, already we know what we have to correct for the things that are in the new power rate ordinance now. We don't know what's going to come through on the water side yet, and there are some potentials for making yet further changes over the next roughly year and a half, which we go into yet another rate case on the power side. And what Jeff's trying to do is make sure that there's adequate funding in there to take care of all of those changes to get it done once and for all. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So you won't be coming back in a year or two and asking to extend or amend or this contract?
They say never to say never, but I believe I will.
No, that's a smart answer. I like it.
I have a question. When the work was originally stopped, it states that the reason why was because it required a significant commitment of time from LADWP's financial planning staff. How are we going to address that moving forward? Because I would hate for us to invest another $2.5 million into this program and not have the staff to understand it well, to be able to execute it well.
And the plan by setting this contract in place is that once we complete the rate action that we've been talking about that will be starting in fiscal year 14-15, the first task after that will be for my financial planning staff on both the water and power side to complete this installation. Because at that point, the two parameters are why we stopped. A, we should have some clarity as to what the rate structure is, and B, now their time is available to be able to implement the system. So we're not going to do anything. We're setting up the contract, but they actually will not start to work until after that rate action is complete.
So, okay, so I don't think that was particularly clear in the board letter. So what you're saying is none of the task orders will be requested or issued until after the next rate structure is
We need
approved?
to have stability on both sides for what the rate structure is. When we have that, which will be after the completion of the rate actions, then that's when we'll implement the final system.
So in the meantime, are we still using an Excel spreadsheet to do our financial plan?
Yes, we are.
So basically, the original contract has been on ice and will remain on ice until some point in the future.
But at this point, we'll have everything set up, so as soon as it's complete, then we'll go in and we'll implement the system. We'll have the final documented system, and we can retire the Excel system, which has served us well. But
Let me ask another question. Maybe this is, opening Pandora's box, but is there any rationale to say, well, since we know we're not going to really issue any task orders under this contract, maybe we should just wait and do it all, a year or so from now, rather than do it now?
Well, we will have this set up, and then that's where we'll have to go through city council, which again takes time to do that. And then the contract is here, we'll start paying the licensing fee, they'll come in and implement their latest system, but not customized for our needs until we have the rate structure done. So this is a little bit of resources on my side. The same resources that prepare this, get this all ready, are the same ones that are going to be in the rate action. And as Mr. Nichols and Mr. Leiber can tell you, they're already winding up for rate work. So I'd prefer to have it done now. I think it's prudent to do it now. And then as soon as the rate action is complete, that's when we'll start using this contract in earnest.
And Commissioner Moss, if I might add, our original plan about a year ago was to actually do the implementation in this interim period before we got into this next rate case. But the problem is it does take quite a bit of time to do the setup with procurement and work with the vendor. And I think Jeff's point is if we wait longer to do that, then we might find ourselves in the same position a year from now. We want to get all of this ready to go so we can pull the trigger quickly when we are ready.
Okay.
I just have one last comment. In the agenda notes, it states that 70% of top utilities use the system. And I know that our department sometimes shares information with other top utilities, so I hope that we would do the due diligence to reach out to make sure that what they're proposing for us to pay is in fact what the other utilities are paying.
And we have done that.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to move to approve.
I would like to just make one quick correction. I want to note on the fourth whereas statement that there was a typo. The 1.9 million figure should read 1.1 million.
With the change, I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 14 passes same approach. Questions on item 15 unless someone wants a presentation?
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good job. Have a seat. Item 16.
16, I do have a question.
Okay, let's get
I'll present.
Aaron.
Okay, Aaron, in 30 seconds, just explain this contract to me, because I couldn't make heads or tails of the board letter.
This is a contract to get Price Waterhouse to act as a consulting company. Remember that the microgrid experiment that we're doing to install meters and get the power plant Castaic tied into the receiving station and everything. So now that we're going to install these meters, we need that expertise of the meter tying into our systems, whether it's the PI historian or the outage management or everything else that we're doing to make sure that all our back office systems are working. And also we have a need for, because we have a $60 million grant for the DOE grant that we've gotten, and we have a collaboration with UCLA.
Will the $5 million come out of that grant?
No, yes, I mean, this will be covered.
By the grant?
Grant will be covering half of that.
Okay.
But we need that administrative expertise, to develop the reports and make sure that the audit that the DOE would do is that we do have we don't have that expertise to put the audit documentation. We need them to be with us.
Okay, and then Price Waterhouse will be using subcontractors to help them
Yes.
do this stuff, and they'll coordinate all that.
Yes, they have expertise in metered area, but they don't have expertise in different area, and they have contractors that they will bring in.
All right, I'm satisfied.
Motion to approve item 16.
We have, Mr. President, I have one correction. There's another typo on the, it's instead of 33 months, it should be 36 months.
Well, now I don't approve. All right, so moved.
I have to recuse myself on this item, so is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0, and please note me as recusing myself, Susie. Item 17.
I will present if there's any question.
Questions on item 17?
I do not have questions on
Is there
17.
a motion to approve 17?
There is.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 17 passes. 18's been deferred. Item 19.
So moved.
Is there a second?
There is.
All in
Can we
favor?
take it together, 19 and 20?
You want to move them both, Mr. Moss?
I surely do.
You want to second them both?
I second them both.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? No opposition? Items 19 and 20 pass. Item 21. Questions on item 21?
I have no questions for item 21.
You want to move the matter?
I move, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 21 passes. I think Commissioner Parker has questions on filed items. Is that correct?
Yes. First, on the water report.
Sorry.
Jim, I'm curious, I'm looking at the water use, total water use in March versus our LADWP base year. And I noticed in past months, the single-family residential water use has been somewhere between 16 and 21%. Now it's down to below 14%. And this is, as you know better than anyone else in the city of Los Angeles, it's been a pretty bad year in terms of rainfall. We're at, your report notes, 47% of normal in the Eastern Sierra. Colorado River is low. Western Sierra is low. So it looks like the residents in the city of LA are using more water at a time when we need to be conserving more. So do you have a plan to increase conservation?
Yeah, we do have a plan to increase conservation. I would caution, though, that these are snapshots, so it's a one-month look, and I kind of got caught on this once before where I got ready to push the panic button, and it was a couple of months where it was like 15, 16, and then it went back to 21 and held at 21. I really want to see what we have in April, and we'll decide to push harder. You may recall, though, we have done a few things. We've reinstituted rebates that were on hold last year. We've increased the rebate for the lawn replacement program, so we're up to $2 per square foot on that, which really helps with the outdoor use. I think part of this may be, you also recall that January and February were the combined driest January and February on record statewide, and the rainfall was pretty low in the city also. March not much better, so we could be seeing some uptick just in outdoor irrigation. So to help counter that, we're working, we have messaging on the 3-day per week watering program that we're going to be pushing out through the public affairs group. So we're hoping to hit it on several different fronts.
Is there any budget for advertising the conservation measures that we're pursuing, or trying to get some earned media?
We do have some budget primarily for print in the not so much for TV and radio, and we do have plans for earned media. We could have a report. I don't have it with me right now, but I could have a report for you at a future meeting. If you
How about social media? Is there any effort in that?
We've got our we're actually quite present on Twitter, and I know the Public Affairs Group works that a lot, and we've recently brought up our Facebook page, so we're starting to push that out too.
Are you monitoring the Facebook page on a minute-by-minute basis?
Twitter, yeah. Facebook,
oh, okay.
all right.
So I appreciate that, but I just want to, from a commission position, I feel that it's been a pretty dry year. I know that there's a little bit of rain in the forecast, but I think we need to get the message out that we're looking at some pretty dry conditions, and we'd really like to see the customers rise to the challenge of using less water.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I think with the current fire situation going out there, people are going to be pretty receptive to the message, so we'll try to build on that.
And could you provide a very quick update on the Coldwater Canyon status?
So on Coldwater Canyon, we completed the project 2 days ahead of schedule. Coldwater Canyon is open again for traffic. I'm pleased to report we were able to complete the project with no injuries on the part of our crew. We did, unfortunately, after the road was reopened, there was a pedestrian injury where one of the trucks that was bringing, I think it was bringing plates or something associated with the contract, came into contact with a pedestrian. Still kind of unclear what's going on. The gentleman was fairly severely injured, and we're monitoring his progress. Last I heard yesterday is he's still in the hospital.
No, I didn't know that. That's terrible news. I just wanted, I went on to Twitter right now, and DWP has 7,000 followers, so we only have 1 million more to go. On the energy side, on the power system side, I noticed that there are some reports on the Pine Tree Solar Park, and Aram, these are recent new sources of generation for the department, and could you report to us on how both Pine Tree and Adelanto solar plants are operating at this time? Are they performing as designed?
Both are operating, and it's on system. We're gathering a lot of information on both, and this is part of our experience that we're building up on integrating these large solar. We're learning a lot from the behavior of those two solar parks, and ECC, our Energy Control Center, is actually, we have some engineers that are, at the ECC monitoring those data on a frequent basis in order for us to make sure we gather all the information and then implement that. As you know, we're going to have much, much larger parks coming in into our system, so this is a chance for us to get our systems in place and make sure we don't have any reliability issues. But both of them are doing very well.
Are they performing as designed, though, or are we getting the megawatts that we were anticipating?
Yeah, as we see them right now, they're performing, both of them. One is about 10 megawatts, the other one is about 8.5 megawatts, but it's going to take some months of data for us to make sure we have enough probability, for hitting those targets that we.
All right.
But both of the contracts have a performance payment that we're holding on both, because we have to get that data, and then after we are satisfied, we pay the last payment on those.
Thank you.
Anything else on the monthly reports?
Yeah, I'm still going, if I may, I'm sorry.
Please.
But, on Haynes, I noticed that the repower seems to have hit a few hurdles. Could you describe the status of the Haynes Units 5 and 6 repower?
Yeah, as we do the commissioning, this is normal operating, that we expect to have, a lot of the flaws or things to come out, and that's the whole idea of making sure our commissioning is done properly before we put them in service. We did have an incident where the contractor and the installer, both GE and the installer, were trying to fire up the unit, and we don't exactly know the cause yet. It's still under investigation, but there was some sort of a failure, mechanical failure inside the core that we had to take out, and we do have spare, and we do have other strategy to kind of put it back in service. But we're going through the root cause analysis to find out whether that thing is we don't know yet. I mean, we're speculating right now what went wrong inside the turbine, but GE has put a lot of effort on making sure that this is not a design issue that we have to deal with, and it's a isolated incident.
As you know better than anyone, we have some high temperatures coming our way, and today it's unseasonably warm for this date in May. So with these two units down at Haynes and with Valley, it seems like there are 3 units that are going through service right now as well. And can you tell us how progress is moving on the units 6, 7, and 8 at Valley?
So Valley is going to be coming online, as we've scheduled it. We don't have any problems at the Valley. We've taken a little longer because we found some parts that we needed to do, which is normal. Haynes is going to be turned on as scheduled, minus that 1 unit. But overall, our system, is well positioned, to meet the summer peak.
So we're ready for the summer.
Yes, we are.
All right, thank you.
And Aaron, just as a clarifying point, that was just 1 unit we had the problem on. So we're talking about 100 out of the 600 megawatts that would not be available.
Which is equivalent to unit 5 and 6, because we had limitations on those units. So as far as total megawatts, we're not going to be any less than what we had today.
And Valley, you're anticipating
Valley is going to be coming online.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. But just
Commissioner Lawson?
Yeah, my question was on the RPS chart.
Okay, let's deem 22 filed.
Okay.
This on 23-1, yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. It looks like we made a large market purchase for wholesale energy resource management in December.
Yes.
Was that to balance out the year so that we're above our 20%? Or where do we end up for the entire year?
We are hitting we hit the 20%, and as you know, the Gorge plant, the board approved the contract for us to overall because we had a failure on the unit. So since we took the small generation out, so we had to do market purchases in order for us to make sure we fill in the gaps. And that's exactly what that strategy was meant to do, is to fill in the gaps as we plan. And we have failures either transmission or generation that we fill in, and that's what we did.
Okay, and as we go forward, what are we anticipating now with Adelanto and with Pine Tree coming on board? Are we going to probably have less of a need to make the market purchases?
Yeah, we don't want to do market purchases except for tuning up the system. So as we ramp up from 20 to, we have a milestone coming in 2016, which we have to be at 25%. You're going to see a ramp up on those as we add more resources until we hit the 2016 target.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions on item 23-1? Manager report. I think that's it. Susie, anything? Joe?
Nope.
At this point, we will recess into closed session, and in accordance with California Government Code Section 54957, we will report any reportable actions taken thereon.
So, but before we go into closed session, I want to apologize for the length of this meeting because I'm told that last meeting was extremely well run, and that was in part because Commissioner Holloman, neither Commissioner Holloman or I were here, and I want to thank Commissioner Parfrey for moving that meeting forward. So, All right.
Tom, it's all your in-between comments that take it, fills up the time.
Okay. Anything else? Closed session. Let's do it. What's your preference? We'll do it in the conference room. Okay. Thank you.